Start recording, and Mutant Epoch, edit that to session 11. Save. Welcome. Actual play of the Mutant Epoch. The High Desert, session 11. Last week, we introduced the characters to a lot of people inside High Rise, getting them kind of accustomed and acclimated to the terrain and the feel of the territory. We met up with some of the other rabbit folk that are inside High Rise and kind of seeing how their society is blended in with the other human society that's kind of in it. They're not quite equal citizens, but there's a lot of beast folk that have adapted to like the way of life and the drumbeat of how things are done in this establishment. And it's pretty clear that the whole city itself really couldn't function without them and their inclusion. Then we also got to meet some characters that are part of the cast's like longer background, and some of the animosities and the friendships that were developed in their early childhood. And a lot of that kind of stuff is all improv that we're playing like really fast and loose and trying to build the scene together. And that's all part of any kind of RPG game, as you build those scenes. And I've been loving it. We've also got a scene that we got to pull up. That is, Cinder has an appointment with the girl that I forgot the name of, even though I've done her session before, Laura, which is a assassin on, let's say, good behavior leave, where she's scouting the area looking for resources. Now, she was talking about oil. Now, as they've in their conversation back and forth, Cinder was saying, well, that doesn't make any sense. The colony needs water. Water is the problem. Like, why are you looking for petroleum? And her indication, her whole kind of backstory was like, well, petroleum's useful no matter where you go. But again, to Cinder's point, you can't drink petroleum. Like, the colony's going to die without water. We need to get water. So, but she asked him, like, hey, I still need your help. Come out to the foyer at midnight. I have a negotiation meeting with somebody, a smuggler. I need you to do Overwatch because I don't trust these people. I think they're going to try to pull something, basically. And their relationship is that Cinder trained her in how to be an assassin. And so we're going to see how that kind of plays out. And I would like to start there, unless anybody has anything they want to add, something I missed.
Nope.
Okay. So I'm going to post this over at the... oh, we got Darth Brooks. How you doing, Brooks? He just said hello. We are live in the Discord, and I'm going to also post that over at X, because what's the other one? Is it Blue Sky or something? I don't have an account with them, so I'm still using the old Twitter.
Blue Sky is the new Twitter.
The new Twitter, the alternate one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't cut that one. Label this as TTRPG and Mutant Epoch hashtags. Okay, we're up. So Cinder, everyone else has gone off and done their kind of thing they're going into the evenings for. The other characters that we haven't actually pushed into their nighttime activity is Iliad with his like dinner party, but he has kind of been stopped by finding an old compatriot of his, Lighthammer, who is in this unbroken cycle of picking up boxes and putting them down with a young woman who's trying to reprogram him. But we're going to push that scene off to the side because we don't have... Oh, we do have Rune. Rune is with us. But
yeah, I've been here. My mic wasn't been working.
Oh, okay.
I just found that out.
Welcome. But we're going to start with this one that's late in the night, because this is going to be separate from everyone else's antics, and I haven't gone back to Cinder in a minute. So Cinder...
Sounds good. Have fun.
How do you want to meet up with Laura in order to kind of like situate yourself and position yourself?
One thing Cinder would like to do is, he has that spare communicator, and he would like to give that to someone in the party. I think he would, ironically, Beans knows why it's ironic, ironically give it to Rhea. And because he trusts Rhea more than pretty much anybody else at this point. Even Rum, even though there's, other feelings there. But he would give, if Rhea is agreeable to it, give it to Rhea to monitor and let Rhea and everybody know what he's doing, that he's meeting or overwatching this meeting between a former acquaintance of his and a theoretical representative from Unity. And it's probably about the smuggling. And I know that other people have heard things, and we haven't ever gotten together to compare notes. So he'd be wanting to do that prior to going to this meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. You call her up, you just hear a bunch of Germans singing on the other side.
I forgot they're singing Erica when we left off with
Drunken singing, yeah.
Okay.
So good choice on your end. Very reliable.
Totally. But again, can we do like a little quick cutscene to meeting before the meeting?
Yeah, definitely. So, Laura.
So, folks, we're all there.
So you're at the
intoxicated bunnies or not.
Yeah. So High Rise does sleep. Power is shut down. Everything's gone into low maintenance mode, and it's just gone over to heat things because at nighttime, again, the temperature plummets. And so a lot of things are just kept over to maintain warmth. And so anybody who's out in the open, you are cold. You have to wear that thermal cloak along with the solar patches on the inside that, absorbed energy during the day. And you're meeting in an area that is out of any like long lines of sight, a couple columns nearby, a kind of overgrown construction area. And Laura's there, and she's sitting on a box, and she has a bad habit of hers, and she has a stiletto blade, and she's rolling it between her fingers back and forth. It's a calming technique that she never really got over. Instead of internalizing the calming and putting it inside of herself, she always needed something outside of herself to bring in that meditation, which, invites distraction. So how do you approach her?
Just walking up, kind of head on a swivel, looking for, possible unfriendlies, although mostly keeping an eye on her.
So she tilts her head up away from the knife, and it vanishes inside her cloak. Mm-hmm. And all you can see is the faint reflective glow of implants in her eyes to let you know that she's seeing an infrared.
Okay.
She looks up at you, and she points her chin towards a distant area where you see a group of, like, what do you call those? The vendor locations. And she makes a couple tapping noises, an old code of yours, like there's ears.
I'll just kind of twitch an eyebrow in acknowledgement.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming out here so late.
I said I would.
She steps up and then moves over towards one of the pillars and pulls you in closer towards her. Just pretend like it's a rendezvous.
You ask a lot sometimes, but sure.
So she puts herself up against one of the pillars where she's blocking the line of sight from those vendor stalls. She's like, there's two over there inside the stalls. I could see them on thermals.
And?
Well, I don't know who they are, but they shouldn't be here. They haven't moved from that location. I mean, not a muscle. Synthetics.
That could be a bad sign.
Yeah, it could be a very bad sign. I put up a white noise scatterer. So if they have anything that can... If they have any not optics, if they have any... what's that called when you get like long distance hear something? Can't remember the name of it. Sonar. It's like a sonar. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So if they have any,
about.
if they have any sonar capabilities, they'll be able to block it, but they'll know something's interfering. They'll buy us a few minutes before they can adjust to it.
I think you call them cannon mics or something like that.
Cannon mic. Yeah. What do androids look like on thermal? So an android on thermal is, if it's a human one, like Cinder, it looks like a human. Mm-hmm. Now the problem is in the mobility. So an android that runs isn't going to have the heat distribution of a human. And that's the telltale.
I wondered how easy or obvious it would be for something that simple.
So someone's not going to notice that, though, because again, that's something you can change. You can regulate that. You have the solar patches in the cloak. Cloak shows off nothing.
Yep.
So as long as you wear that cloak, they don't know if you're synthetic or not. What gave them away was the not moving. Nobody can stay that still. There's always going to be micro motions.
Okay.
Lies, a corpse that's been stapled up against the wall doesn't move very well.
It's also cold. Or getting colder.
Yeah, throw a heat back under it. It's fun.
That's also true. That's another trick, and it's been done.
So getting back to it, Cinder says, so what's your play on this?
Well, I think they're doing the same thing I'm doing, putting an Overwatch down. If it is Unity.
No doubt.
If it is Unity, then it's definitely synthetics and they're watching the trade. I haven't seen my point of contact yet, though he's supposed to be able to meet me. She points to an area over, like, you could feel where her fingers are pointing underneath your cloak, over here behind the other side of the foyer out in the open. We'll have starlight to see by. There should be only
You are
two.
aware there's another faction at play here, right?
Is it Hashmal?
Yeah.
No.
I had a little talk with him the other day, and I managed to spot, at the last moment, 4 operatives that I couldn't spot before because they weren't giving off the normal signals, but they were poised to attack. I didn't attack, so they didn't attack, but it was obvious that they're pretty well trained and poised to attack.
That's not good. I was making a guess. I haven't seen.
Yeah, I thought they were just crazies with, I had an acquaintance say that there was something more to them than that, but I just thought they were crazies. But no, and look in his eye, he's not dumb.
No, I've noticed that too.
I thought he was dumb.
He's a psychic and a telekine.
Yeah, but more than that, he's got a plan. And when I tried to confront him on it, just for a moment, he showed his true colors.
They're very difficult to get into. They have meetings in an area. They keep it all very public. It's hard, but I suspected when I met these 2 operatives, I'd be meeting 2 of their own cloister. They show up in those stupid robes, they'll certainly give it away. Though there's another part of it. There could be infiltrators within their own damn sect. I don't know yet. The possibilities are endless. But the more information I can get, the better, as long as I can survive the night.
Oh. You not survive?
Cinder.
Sweetheart, you're like a cockroach. They could smash you to the ground and you'd still manage to crawl away.
You're so sweet, but I'm actually scared this time.
Now you're making me nervous. You scared? I thought you were a little too crazy for that.
Well, I was till only about an hour ago.
Really?
She's like, yes, take a look at this. And she, like really close, where she opens up something and she like smiles and giggles and like does a little movement to make it look like you guys are like sharing something private. And then she shows you a small LCD display that shows a readout for a microwave gun. So it has a very unique power signature. Now, normal microwave signature is readable, and they're everywhere. But this is highly concentrated. And a microwave gun is one of the worst weapons against a nanoborg. It disrupts all of the connections in their body and shuts them down. It's basically like pointing an instant death gun at one.
Isn't it bad for androids, too?
Yeah, it's bad for everything. Everything dies under a microwave gun.
Yeah, it's like, that's bad news, man.
But it's one of the guaranteed ways. If you want to put a nanoborg down, use a microwave gun.
So where? I ask her.
I don't know. I think they were test firing it. I picked this spike up when I was putting down relays in the area. IEM signature field and then a microwave burst.
So it could be anywhere.
The only thing they probably would have noticed over at security at the terminal stations was there was a blip in the comm signals, the discharging overpowered. They would have just assumed it was static.
And here I was slightly impressed with their security measures. Now, not so much.
Well, they're still impressive, but I don't think it's coming through the silt seas. I think it's coming up from underground.
No doubt. Everything impressive in this area seems to always be underground, don't you know?
I have no to get down there. It's under lock and key. But I think the cult has some way of getting down there.
Oh, I'm sure.
And there's the rabbits. Endless rabbits.
And what's up with that? I saw 10 being hanged as I came in.
And something about some kind of turf war in the lower areas of the city. These were vagrants, murderers.
They said they were smugglers, too.
Well, that was the official. That was what they were putting on the official documentation.
So they're not the ones. They're not the ones bringing in the Unity tech.
No, I think they were just caught holding the bag, so to speak.
Scapegoats, cutouts.
I wouldn't want to put it on a hydraulic night, but I think that the good sheriff has been pinning the blame on the wrong people.
I get the impression the good sheriff isn't so good anymore.
Well, that's not our concern.
Aligning, well, it's my concern when she aligns with the obvious enemy or one of the obvious enemies.
She, like, a little finger stabs you in the chest. Our concern is the arcology.
Yeah. Always the same with you.
It's always the same for me. It better be the same for you.
It is, but I have, as I said last time, a view of the bigger picture, too.
It's almost time. Try to find some point where you can get up on... Don't silhouette your... Well, who am I telling this to? Get up to a high point. Mm-hmm. I'll go down low and I'll wait. I'm supposed to get a signal. 3 blue light bursts coming from a shadow. She taps her shoulder. She taps your elbow, rather, to show you the direction back way where it's going to be.
Right.
3 light bursts that direction. That's the signal that they're coming through.
And then I lean in and give her a big, obvious smooch and then move off.
Yeah, she does like the giggle, like push, and then she kind of glides off in a different direction. You get 2 lovers parting in the dark. And within...
Right, so then I will look for that high point and whatever I can manage.
Yeah. You find a catwalk, again, just a maintenance, area where you can look down. There's a lot of power cables up where you're at. It's very easy to gain access to on a metal ladder. And you can see really clearly down onto the open foyer, the concrete slabs that are laid down, the retainer wall on either side of it. And it's just kind of like an open, and the gibbet has been taken down where there's like, and been removed from the area. And within moments, she's standing just on the edge of the shadow line where the moon can't make a silhouette of her. And there's 3 distinct blue flashes that comes from an opposite direction. And then she steps out into the open. Instead of 2 men, 4 men stride out, all in thermal garb with their hoods up. She does something uncharacteristic. She stops. You saw the nervousness in that stagger step. She stops, halts for a second, tilts her head back, and you can see her square her shoulders, and she continues forward to the middle.
I've got my longbow with me.
Long gun?
No. Long
bow. Okay, cool.
I haven't been using the longbow, but I'm going to get it out for this occasion. I want the silent factor of it and the lack of a flash so that they couldn't track it back to me as fast. And I am prepped with the arrow and just waiting for a bad move on one of their parts, and I'll take out 1 shot, and then I might grab out my long gun. But that's where I'm starting. I am trying to review what my capabilities are. I do believe I have heightened hearing, but I don't recall how much.
Well, heightened hearing, we're going to assume at this time that you can hear enough of the conversation.
Yep. Okay.
And so they begin discussing with one another over this exchange of information. And she provides them with some kind of documentation that she never really explained to you. And they hand over to her a rather heavy battery case. And she takes that and like wrapped and shoulders it and gets it, her cloak wrapped up over the top of it. You can still see that distinct kind of bulge in the back where it's sat at. All parties seem satisfied with the deal, and they begin to break paths away from each other. But just as everyone's about to turn away from one another, it seems everything's going to go well. One of them, it's a lightning quick movement. His hand snakes out and he grabs her forearm. And you see her freeze, and that's that one of her hands you can see is clearly down by one of her long knives. And she didn't manage to get it up and out yet. And there's an exchange of harsh, he's like, you better not, like, you speak nothing of this to no one. We will know if you say anything. And she just gives her coy smile, strokes the person's hand and slowly just pulls the fingers away from it. No one will find out. Your secret is safe with me.
Quick question.
Yeah.
So they had what on again? They had like full thermal coverings or something?
Yeah, they're wearing the thermal cloaks for the nighttime.
Right.
Do you have thermal vision?
I do not.
Okay.
I don't think.
Right.
I'm trying to remember what I do and don't have with this character.
If you have the lung gun with you, it has a thermal.
I do.
It has a thermal scope.
Okay. Yeah, I probably would have tried to at least look at them through the thermal scope.
Yeah, you can detach it and take a look at it.
Yeah. I also want to try to pick up their scent.
Okay.
I've got that.
Yes, you have super powerful olfactory senses.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, so this is one of the interesting things about them. Each of them smells heavy of machining oil. Like they've been down in a factory working with the greases and petroleum jellies that are used in machining. The one that's arm that's snaked out, there's no thermal register on that arm. That's a cybernetic limb.
Sure.
It's just blue cold. And then again, she manages to peel his fingers away from her and push them off to the side. They depart and there's no other incident. The two that she indicated off to the distance finally move. The other four, they depart into the shadow and they start making a adjacent angle move to where she's gonna be in the dark.
Who's doing this?
There's two others. They were sitting inside a merchant stall waiting. She had indicated them earlier, like there's two overwatching this. And they're doubling back around.
But they're heading towards her?
Yeah, they're gonna basically they're gonna intercept her in the dark. You've got a clean line on both of them coming through because they got no cover where they're moving from.
Right.
Now, do you want to call in?
Yeah, I'm whispering to Rhea as this all goes down what I'm seeing, what's happening.
Yep, sounds good.
Does she seem to see them?
Rhea, what kind of visions do you have?
I think she's got a thermal.
Okay, so you'll see them coming, moving along the walkway. And the interesting thing is that Laura doesn't know about you. Doesn't know that Ray is there because Cinder never said anything about having a backup to the backup.
Absolutely didn't.
Yeah. So you're the trump card right now. You got two of them. They're about a couple dozen meters away. They're moving low and fast, not slow.
So what was the plan here? Take them out?
There wasn't a plan. It was a free form because we didn't know what to expect. We want information. It would be nice to get somebody to question.
They're definitely coming in for they're coming in for a T section for you know what an L-shaped trap is? For an L-shaped ambush?
Not exactly.
So it's one facing one on the flank. It's an L-shaped ambush, and that's what they're doing. Like for your character living in the underworlds, the L-shaped ambushes are kill. Like if you get caught in one, you're dead.
All right, I am definitely going to pull my bow back to full, and I have night vision, but not thermal. I just found it.
Yeah. Actually, I can freehand it, so if like
I should be able to see them even if it's dark. Then I'm going to go ahead and take a shot at one of them, the one that's trying to do the flank.
Yeah. So it looks like this right here on the screen. So you have the target, which is the squiggle right here. And you have one coming at an angle vector and one coming up straight. So this way, if they shoot, they don't intersect their lines of fire on each other.
Oh, I see where you have it. Got it. Yep. So yep, I'm gonna whisper to Rhea that I'm taking out the one on the right or whatever the fuck it is. All right, and so I should be getting my killer bonus, correct?
Yeah, you will, because they don't know you're there, and they have no defense value.
Oh well, I'm pretty much guaranteed to hit, but I'll roll anyways. Let's see, got it somewhere here. Aimed. Oh.
And what about Rhea? Taking a shot. DV0. Could take a leg out, maybe.
Yeah. You'll go for a mobilizing shot.
Yeah.
So that's without any killer bonus for damage there.
Yeah. And that's
should I roll for killer damage?
No. Where'd you aim again?
I didn't aim. I'm trying to hit them. I'm not like going for a headshot or anything.
Okay. Yeah. So you hit center mass. The target drops to the ground.
Okay.
Just a yard shaft of like polycarbonate and steel through its chest.
Yep. Does she seem to notice when that happens?
Oh yeah, she hears the snap and then the body drop, and then she turns up and looks, and she's already pulling out an auto pistol from her hip.
All right.
Which is extreme for her to go for a loud weapon.
Yeah, that is. That's why I wasn't using my auto pistols, but oh well. She can take the heat.
Yeah, take the heat for that. Yeah. Normally she'd go for her knife. She's probably got the knife in the opposite hand.
Sorry, what's the option to shoot an arm?
Yeah. Oh, arm or a leg.
It's the same.
No, it's a little different. It's
I'm trying to find the table for that.
Yeah, I think I have it over here in combat charts. Called shots. Shoot a kneecap or hamstring a leg is quick shots -32.
To -32.
Yep.
Is that for just like quick shot or is it like an aim shot?
Quick shot. Aim shot's -9. Would you have time to aim?
Have time to aim? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's shoot the arm out. We're going loud.
Oof. Going for the arm. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the arm.
Take that. Yeah. Gun hand out.
Yeah. -15 for the arm, but you got that anyways. All right. So that target wheels back as the arm is hit, drops, and like rolls up onto a pillar. One arm like useless at its side, and you can hear the clatter of a weapon skitter across the concrete. And you hear a hiss, spit, yell, and then all of a sudden, Laura is sprinting towards that direction, and she's got her knife out, and she's got the long gun up, positioned across her arm to stabilize it.
How fast can I get down there, do you think, Cinder?
You could leap over the edge.
I will.
Yeah. So right up over the top.
I'm trying to get down there fast enough to say without screaming it for everybody to hear, take him alive.
Yeah. So there's the report of a firearm as Rhea's in the distance, the crack shot, and it ripples across the area. And in the distance, you hear a an automatic alarm system go off. Whoop whoop.
Sure.
As a sound detection device for like loud noises is tripped.
Right.
Now, Rhea, you know what that is the moment you heard it. That is a triangulating sound sensor device, like detector. And so it knows where that shot came from within like a meter.
Yep. We're going to try to grab him and go.
Yeah, she'll radio over, be like, all right, place is about to get hot. Better scram.
Yep. I'm still going to try to retrieve the bad guy and bring him for interrogation.
Rhea, make a quick perception check. Type D to see if you're able to find your brass fast before you leave.
Oh, it was she's loaded up with unities.
Oh, brass caseless ammunition.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
That works for this scenario.
Yeah, this scenario works really good. Yeah, that's clever. Yeah, caseless. Okay. So with that, Cinder, you're down there. You got the one that's been shot in the arm. The one that's on the ground with the long shaft in its chest, that one's dead.
And I try to grab my shaft quick.
Yeah. So you pull it out, and there's heavy resistance. You rip it out, but it comes away with metal debris, like wires and other things.
So I think cyborg or android,
but Ichor as well. Like you smell old cyborg blood. Yeah.
Old blood.
Fresh material.
Yeah, old blood.
He's not a what the fuck am I thinking of? The plant thing that can animate corpse.
It could be.
But it had metal. Well, they can have cyborgs.
They can be cyberized, yeah.
I'm not going to take the time to try to figure that out. I'm going to take a quick sniff to see if I smell anything. But otherwise,
you smell decay.
Yeah, well, that's hard to read. There's cyber systems now that can run cyborgs as after they're dead, so I don't know what that is. But grab the shaft, grab the body of the guy that's not dead, and make haste to exit.
So as you're leaving, you're running away. Laura says, "Shit, what the fuck was that?" As something drops off the body and skitters into the shadows.
Oh, fuck.
The body that you're having in your arms was tense and moving around, and now it's perfectly still.
Fuck. Parasite, possibly?
She's like, fuck. And she sits there. You can see her looking around, pointing her gun in the direction where it was. And you already hear security starting to move through the area. You hear communication beads, like the static of them calling back and forth to one another. As they're trying to zero in.
The body aside, I don't think you're going to get anything from it. So just try to fade out, get out of line of sight and start acting completely normal and, nonchalant, maybe curious as to what the commotion is about, but trying to blend.
Yeah. I mean, there's other people late night, like second shifters that are kind of coming out and getting, because there's a couple of little stalls open here and there that still serve food this late at night, and you kind of blend in with the night shift crowd as you start going to the hab units. Low lights, sodium orange, and people moving about shuffling. And they have that look of night shifters. I was a night shifter for a while. I know, like the pallid look, like you always kind of like you have the circles in your eyes, always kind of look like death.
Yep. And on a quick whisper to her, date night mode, and grab her around the waist and start acting drunk.
Yeah, she circles an arm around yours and she's like, all right, and like leans in, and you could see her face is already starting to flush just from the activity.
Sure.
So all right, and then from there, as the guards are trying to figure out what just happened, we'll move back over to where we have Iliad. Iliad, you just dealt with seeing an old member, somebody of your order, trapped in a cycle, but you have an obligation to go to.
Yep, Iliad makes note of this and knows he has to contact Argo after this fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But with how eager Get alone seemed for Iliad to arrive, he sticks to his obligation for now. Though he will definitely seem on edge and almost agitated.
Okay. So
Kit, thank you for showing me the abode I'm required to arrive at.
Yeah, used to come here a lot when we were kids.
Oh yes, I do remember hearing about that.
Yeah, used to kind of scowls a little bit. Kent is all right, I guess. It's just that he's playfully mean to me, and it gets annoying sometimes.
I'm sure he doesn't mean any malice. He has good qualities for a warrior.
She pauses and then nods awkwardly. Yeah. I guess. Kind of hard to see it that way when you're the butt of the joke a lot of the time.
His clawed middle hand just kind of like pats her shoulder. Maybe I can talk to him.
Oh yeah. So she pulls out the etching that she did. Do you understand what this is?
Iliad will look to that, what was it? Just like an impression that she scribbled.
Yep.
He goes like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Just scanning immediately.
Yeah, so it instantly pops up. Okay, so it's a barcode for a weapon system, and it lists off, machining, timing, materials it was made of, location it was made of. It's a quality control check.
Huh.
But it's not one from the ancient era. This is new.
Is there a signature of the maker?
There's a mark of the person who was the last quality control checker.
And who was that?
It's just a person's name. We'll have to come up with one. But it was very it's mundane.
Okay.
And it's the problem with it being mundane for you is that something that's mundane, that's as sophisticated as this, means that it's got a process that is well established. Which means if you have an established process, you have supply lines, you have regulations, you have processing controls, which means you have repeatability. And anybody who has high repeatability is going to be able to outfit and equip people very rapidly.
Right. So does this give off the impression it was made here, or was this does the residuals kind of say Unity too?
It says either Unity or an established 86, like a factory that's up and running, has been running really well.
Oh yeah, 86 it could be.
So Unity definitely would have the way to do this, but Unity is incorporated with humans and synthetics. So it's supposed to be a joining. So using this kind of code series doesn't always make a whole lot of sense for Unity. But 86, which is a synthetic settlement, this would make more sense for them.
Okay. Is there anything that I can have Ilya be like for certain? Like, yeah, this is definitely 86. Nothing to worry about.
He can say with like a 90% assurance, like it's an 86 item, not a Unity one. It's just kind of weird that it's here.
Where did you get this?
Kent has a gun in his room, and it had that on the sights or something?
I think it was on the stock.
Yeah.
Kent has a weapon from Unit 86.
Sure.
Elliot will stare at Kit for a second and then kind of just like pat her head. We're going to 86, remember?
Yeah. Well, me and Connor were kind of doing our own little investigating, and there's something weird going on with the Unity and here.
What? What is Unity doing here?
There's a smuggle chain, I think is what I picked up.
Is Kent in on it?
I don't think so. He doesn't seem to be the guy, even if he is mean to me.
Then let's put this aside for now, and he stops to look down the path to his old mentor. Let's move along. I have other obligations to get to.
Okay. Yeah. What's that? I think.
Yeah, Iliad will approach the door and politely knock.
Okay. So with a couple raps, the door slides open and Joan's there. And she looks you up. She's like, and she just, one of her, like her hand just goes to her mouth. She's like, oh my God. Oh, I'm sorry. Please come in.
I found the knight.
Yeah. And Iliad, there was recognition.
Have we met? Iliad will say as he ducks his head under and enters the house.
I keep forgetting Iliad is a fucking giant.
Yeah.
Yes, he's very big.
When she looks at you, a long time ago, I was she loses herself in the moment and she's like, excuse me for a moment. Kent. And then like Kent comes forward and he's just like, oh, Sir Iliad, you came. And he like just kind of comes up and like grabs your hand and tries to like shake it like as hard as he can.
Iliad slacks a little to let him shake the hand.
Yeah, so he can actually move. He's just moving himself up and down as he's trying to shake it. Yep. Joan like withdraws a bit and she seems troubled as she goes back in towards the kitchen. And Iliad, you clock that her entire kind of demeanor withdrew in. And Red Rum, because you're working with her, when she comes back into the kitchen, you see that you hear Iliad come in and you hear Kent like getting loud and stupid, and you can see like a shadow has passed across Joan's face.
Joan, are you okay? What happened?
Tell me, Red, you've traveled with Sir Iliad for a number of days, have you?
Yeah.
Is he sound?
Well,
no, I don't mean like the oddities that we see in older machines. I mean, is he safe?
Is he safe?
I apologize. I'm being cryptic.
Done no harm that I've seen. He's fought by our side and seems loyal. A little odd in his beliefs, but I've seen no reason to doubt his being safe. What makes you ask?
I don't want to speak in a way that would be offensive to the many great deeds that the knights have done in the past. So I need my husband, excuse me. And she goes to a wall terminal where there's a screen there and she dials in a few numbers. And Ara, are you with us?
I am.
Okay. So you're sitting at your terminal, slapping the keyboard. You're reprogramming this freaking vat tank to actually be something other than the pile of trash that Clark turned it into. Again, you're fixing his code base, making everything align correctly, creating a database where you can actually figure things out. And all of a sudden, a little screen pops up in the corner, and you see that you have a live view camera that for communications going back and forth. And it's somebody named Ball and Chain is contacting you.
Oh my God.
Argramuni snickers loudly as he automatically knows that type of reference. But he instantly answers it and is like, hello, my name's Argo. What can I help you with today?
She, like, again, there's a woman that's thin-faced, sallow-skinned, pale eyes and hair. Obviously a sick woman. And she's like, oh, who are you? I'm sorry, I'm trying to reach Clark. And Clark is
he's
okay, yeah, go ahead.
Clark. Looks behind him at the lovely little gelatinous goo he's currently resting in. It's like, give me a minute. Let me rouse him. He was just sleeping.
So, Red, you can hear it's Argo on the other side of that line.
Yeah, Red will just kind of roll her eyes and put her face in her hand behind Joan's back and shake her head. It's like, what tangled web is this?
So Clark is passed out inside the goo. He has like submerged himself fully into it, so only his face is showing, and you can see that it's like vibrating gently as it's cleaning his body.
Oh, I have a question.
Go for it.
My brain's immediately thinking, okay, cool. Can I send an electrical pulse through the goo to get him awake?
Yes. I didn't know how. I thought you might like tap him in the face or something, or like close his nose and mouth.
I'm gonna be
I like
technical
this.
about
Yeah,
it.
I like this more. You're like, you up the voltage.
Still points.
Yeah, no, 100% that. That's so much better. So yeah, you're able to quickly like just get the voltage, because I love that you remembered that too, that there was an active voltage to keep this thing alive. And yeah, so you're able to up the voltage a bit to make it like, so it shocks him, and it doesn't harm the goo. I mean, it'll be fine. It gets a shock as well, and he does. He like spasms, like what? And again, he's butt naked in this thing. He's flapping around, and there's goo going everywhere, and he's just like, what the fuck? What happened?
Argo is simply standing right next to him, tablet in hand, with a fresh lab coat on. Sir, a Miss Ball and Chain wishes for you.
So again, like Red, you can
says extra loudly just so she can hear.
God, oh God. So like Red, you can just see Joan, instead of deflating, like she stands back up, like fully erect.
Oh no.
Like,
oh yes, Argo likes this. He likes this type of drama.
This is a woman who's like, oh, okay, so that's what I fucking am. It just is faulty. He's like, no.
Rum is on the verge of unleashing her emotional inducement for calm, but she hasn't done it yet.
Can Kit hear this as well?
You're gonna hear this next part. So Joan, with her voice kind of high, but controlled, and you can feel it, Red. You can feel the emotions are tight, like a fist wrapped around something. So she's not gonna blow up, but it's cold and it's hard. And she's like, Clark, clean yourself up, get pants on, and get your ass home immediately. I have laid out a nice dinner, and we have a lovely guest. I've sent you 3 messages already, you drunk. And he stands there, he's like, okay, honey. As he's like in the goo. And then like the signal just cuts. And then he looks over at you, Argo, and he's like, you want a free meal?
Tempting. But will you survive it? From the look on her face, I question.
Well, see, this is the thing. You're my excuse.
Manhood.
Yeah, but you're my excuse. So if I bring like the new guy around, yeah, I was showing him around. We had to like get the whole lab going, and I was cleaning myself up in the goo. That's believable.
That'll cost you, sir.
He kind of like you see him get smaller. He's like, how much is it gonna cost me?
Per the hour, 100 credits.
100.
High.
All right, we'll make it a quick dinner. As he's like doing calculations in his head, he scrapes the goo. Like he gets an S-strike tool and he scrapes all the glue off and throws it back inside the container where it like recongeals into a solid mass. You can see it kind of like jiggling. It's got like a high charge going through it.
Argo simply has a very big predatory smile as he just watches.
Yeah, there's like a little pseudopod that comes out.
Head.
Trying to touch him. And
he's
like,
head, just how much
money
he's going to make.
Brother, thinking it's going to be quick.
Yeah, right.
Quick. Oh,
so
this
quick. We'll make it a quick dinner.
Fool.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be a quick one.
Oh, he knows how these go. Back where he came from.
So
one of these nights, they lasted all night.
Yeah, you're gonna keep asking like, anecdotal questions to make the thing like, that's dessert. It's so lovely.
Oh yes, he knows exactly how to play these.
What about coffee?
He has a very long experience of these as well.
Making it stretch out and be uncomfortable.
make these
Oh,
since he
I love
made what the fuck? Many times the wives have demanded their husbands back. And he had to come over for their dinners.
So Joan turns around and looks at Red. My husband's an idiot. He's probably going to bring the new lab assistant with him.
Pretty much all men are idiots, I have come to believe.
She just shakes her head. She goes over to the refrigeration unit and opens up, and she takes out 2 more protein packs and lays them out. We're gonna have to make a little bit more. And they start putting them into the reheater.
By the way, Joan, the new lab assistant you mentioned, he also came into town with us and Iliad. His name is it Argo? Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, Argo.
Yeah, his name's Argo. Nice enough fella.
So
Has a wonderful robot companion.
She's got the plastic sealed package, and she's bringing it over to the reheater to get rehydrated and heated up. And her hands are placed there, and they're pressed against the countertop, and her eyes are kind of darting back and forth. She's remembering something, and then you can hear barely. She whispers, "Athena."
I've heard that name before. Athena.
She shakes her head. She pinches her brow. It was an AI intelligence that was in charge of the knights in Bittertoe, the fortress, the hydraulic knights. She was, well, didn't want to be caught in one of her webs.
Oh. We just had an encounter with an entity claiming to be Athena.
Athena's dead.
That's what Iliad said, but I think he might believe otherwise now.
No, that's not. She shakes her head. That's not possible.
Well, perhaps not, but something is at least mimicking Athena, if it's not the true Athena.
She just shakes her head and she sighs. It's something she would do. It's just some like her.
As I said, it just seemed to throw Iliad quite a bit, because he was very convinced that she was dead, and now he seems uncertain.
She folds her hands underneath her thin chest, and she just leans back as the 2 protein packs rehydrate and heat.
Mm-hmm.
And she you can see she's kind of data dumping on you a bit.
Yep.
As she's going through her thought process, and because and Red is so good at this that you're getting willing information out of someone without really having to try. It's also because of just how comfortable that people could be around Red. She's like, no, it's not like that. It's, how do I explain it? Strange things would happen. No, that makes it too mystic. She could calculate probabilities. And I don't mean like a computational robot that can figure out, rain precipitation or discover the termination time of a bearing. I mean mass calculations, movements of populations, the settlements of people. She can project 100 years into the future and know where a town would be built.
I thought someone told me she was an AI that came out of a game system.
I mean, that's the legend.
Well, that's probably what I heard, was just the legend.
No, it's more complicated than that. See, most of these things, they have themselves a layer of projection, a personality that they put over their true processing power. Yes, she may have been some kind of holographic interface display at some point before the ruin, but she had access to computational power that, well, could only be regulated by something that was giving satellite transmission. She didn't have a power supply or the processing units or the size to be able to predict the flow of events or the information or the distribution of resources the way that she could. She could thread 100 needles with a single strand.
So Rum is kind of going, blink, blink. Joan, honey, you're losing me.
I'm sorry.
I'm a simple girl here.
I was a she goes, she was about to say what she was, and then she clamps up.
Oh shit! Oh well.
And then she like looks at you for a minute, and you can see like a tiny bit of suspicion in her eyes, but it's dismissed because to anyone who looks at Red, you're just a normal woman, a pretty woman, but normal. You're not like one of these. You're not like Hashmal, who's clearly a mutant.
Right.
And that's
So
kind
she
of
looked at me with suspicion. What is my vibe from that? Why do I think she's suspicious?
You've seen it before with clients, but clients that knew what ghost mutants were.
Oh.
Wouldn't she know what ghost? Well, I mean,
They're
she's
rare.
around with it.
Ghost
Well, maybe
mutants,
it's a good thing I didn't hit her with the calming.
yeah, ghost mutants are rare. And there's no marking here that tells you who a ghost mutant is and isn't. And mutants aren't like, there's not a lot of them in High Rise. There's very few because the population is stable.
Plus, they often go underground, so they don't advertise what they are.
Yeah.
Because prejudice, you know?
Yeah. You have a pretty strong pure stock strain in the high desert. Not too many mutants.
Plus, ghost mutants are often presumed to be bad because of psychic stuff.
Yep. And empath ones, they can't shut it off. It's who they are. It's just another sense. It's the ones people fear are the telepathic ones that can read your mind. And a lot of people, they don't understand that distinction. They think it's kind of the same thing.
So Red's going to say to Joan, I'm sorry, Joan. I feel like I just completely shut you down there. You were getting stuff off your chest and feeling like you could talk, and my apologies. I didn't mean to harsh on your groove.
No, I'm sorry. You're a dinner guest, and I'm airing family business to you, and I should be a better host than this, and I thank you for accommodating my distressing life.
Hey, I'm a sympathetic ear should you need it. I just wanted to point out to you that some of the technical stuff you were talking about goes over my head. Doesn't mean I don't care. It just means I wasn't totally sure everything that you said made sense to me. Because what's a satellite?
Oh, okay. Well, she goes on to explain what a satellite is. And what she does to explain, she used to be a heuristic adaptive learning AI programmer. It's a very specific field. So not cybernetics, not robotics, specific to programming AIs and understanding their psychology and how they function as like organisms.
She's an AI whisperer.
Yeah. So she used to create AIs and repair old ones and, deal with their mental issues because they develop them over the years, just like any sentient being. But the approach to the psychology, therapy for artificial intelligence that can't forget anything is very different than it is for biological, where, their memories have to be regurgitated and rememorized, and that changes the perception of them. But when you're an artificial intelligence, there is no change of perception. It's just the memory, and the memory can be recalled whenever you want to. And so if you develop certain personality quirks or disorders, it is so much more severe in an AI than it is in a person because there's no medication.
Right.
You have to teach them, new controls, limitations. You have to provide them the tools to be able to govern their own personalities. And sometimes it doesn't work, and then you have to reprogram them. You have to put in that kind of biological characteristic in order to allow them to forget, to fade away.
Got it. All right. Well, like I said, she's just going to continue to try to be kind and supportive to Joan and reassure her that whatever is bothering her, she'll get through it. And that she continue to do what she'd been doing, or try to distract her with cooking stuff and, what spices do you use a lot here? And things like that. So
back in the other area, in the foyer and around the table, we have Kent is just over the moon that he's got a real true blue hydraulic knight in here, not his captain, one he can converse and talk with. He has 1,000,001 questions for you, Iliad. He just doesn't stop. You're basically forgotten about unless somebody pulls you into it, because he's just more or less ignoring your existence.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yep, used to this.
Depression.
Oh,
I was going to say,
kid.
it's a situation normal.
Yeah, poor kid.
At this point, Connor has had enough of just kind of glaring and just leaves the room as they keep conversing.
He's like, oh yeah, I'm not dealing with this.
He'll help in the kitchen or just sit in the dining room if there's nothing he could do there. But Iliad, on the other hand, does his best to answer these questions.
So it's really just kind of again, it's just fanboy questions. Like, what was your favorite battle? Like, what was your favorite weapon? Like, what's your favorite color?
Oh my god.
It's like he's trying to fill out an article for Teen Magazine. Like, that's kind of what it feels like.
I was so excited waiting for you to come. I made friendship bracelets for both of us. Yours says best friend. Mine says best fiend. I messed up on it, but that's okay.
Yeah, like that. He is fanboying hard.
Actually, I have a question.
Well,
Oh
Kit,
god, the thing exists. I forgot about you.
you have the floor. Iliad will nod to her.
So, I keep hearing about this Athena character, and I guess what was really the significance of her, if it is a her?
Iliad kind of goes quiet for a moment, just kind of staring. That's not even if she could pick up, she's not picking up judgment. It's just kind of more so the gears in his brain are struggling to turn.
So since Kit seems to have an interest in Kent's current OCD obsession, he just spills everything that is, the official face of the Hydraulic Knights of who Athena was. She was the leader of the order. She founded it with the first knight Arthur, who found her inside the ruins of some kind of settlement, and then they established the knighthood, and it grew in power over several years. He just, again, it's like you're reading the back cover of a catalog to join some kind of club.
It's the wiki article.
Yeah, it's the thank you. It's the wiki article of a fan club, a fan magazine, or Fansly, whatever it's called, that website. So yeah, he just gives you that. Now, Iliad. Yeah, that's the official face of it. He's hit all the high points. That's all in your memory banks. You remember that. But it's more than just that. He's not capturing the character of who Athena was. That's just the propaganda of what Athena was. And Joan has come out with a couple things. She's put them out, and she's looked at her son a few times critically, almost disapprovingly, as she's laying things out, as he just data dumps on you, Kit. And for Red, you can hear this Kent's just explosion of information, and you can feel the only emotion coming off of Joan is disgust with this conversation about Athena. It's very deeply rooted. And around that time, at the door comes Clark and Argo. Clark walks in, honey, I'm home, as he's watching this conversation about Athena going on at the table that his son is just data dumping about, with Argo just behind. And only Red knew that Argo was going to be showing up.
No, Joan did.
Joan and Red.
Yeah.
I mean, of the players.
Right.
At that point, hearing that, Iliad's head turns unnaturally around to look back at them as they enter, and his eyes immediately focus on Argo.
Hard to get used to.
Freaking owl.
Yeah, I know. Very hard to get accustomed to that. Argo?
Stop. Argo sounds dead tired.
Yeah, he's just spent the last several hours reprogramming a mess.
Argo, you're here.
Yes.
Kent looks between you.
This one's a mess.
Kent's oh yeah, I just hired him as a lab assistant to help with the programming of some of the regrowth tanks. You guys know each other?
He's been my traveling compatriot for some time.
Oh.
He's a very brilliant scientist, I know. And actually, I will need his help later, but he seems quite exhausted, and I may spare him the details for now.
Well, that's a happy accident.
Make me interested. I'll need something new. At least I get burnt out.
And it also gets
Right on.
Kent to shut up for a little bit.
Red will poke her head out of the kitchen, say, "Hi, Argo. Where's WTF?"
He's probably trying to come in for the door.
Yeah, it's huge.
You just hear the fucking tracks trying to get up.
Oh,
Because I'm assuming there's probably like stairs, I'm guessing.
Ramps to allow things with
Ramps?
tracks and legs to be able to get
sweet.
through. Yeah.
But how wide is the door?
Standard for most humans to get through, so I'd say at about 3 feet. So you might not be able to actually get
he
through.
might just be able to
through.
get in.
Yeah.
He has to keep, like, changing angles to kind of, like, squeeze
To the
his
kitty
tracks
corner,
through.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to get a really big
Using
desk
new
in.
intelligence to slowly angle his way in properly.
Yeah, so the house is like the house was, again, it was fairly large for the amount of family members that were here, but it started to get that fullness of like a big dinner. And like Joan's eyes widen when she sees another robot come. She's like, "Oh, okay." And she like looks at her husband like a little distressed, and he just like beams at her like, "Look, I brought company. Aren't I a good husband?" She
Iliad's
just
head like turns the rest away around, so he would have done like a 360 to look back at Joan. Don't worry, he's not with us. Well, the knights.
No, Joan shakes her head. No, I would know that. Cryptic that she would say that.
Yeah, Iliad's trying to remember because it's like he realized, like, despite being the one to dump Connor off, well, that sounds harsh, but you know, more or less, after his incident, he didn't really interact with the family afterwards. He realizes, and now he just kind of feels awkward.
Yeah, so it's like at this point, like Kent has his cards out, like on the table. He has like his collector's binder with all of them in the sleeves of all the different like knights throughout the years. And then like there's an old one in there that's like a kind of beat up, and its edges are frayed and the color is bleached a little bit. He's like, "Yeah, and I like, this is the one that started my collection," as he like points to it. And it's just like what is this? You could barely make out the image of the character that's on it. And again, you can't see it through the glare of the glossy. He says, "It was my mom's first card." Joanne's just got a tight smile, and she nods. "I collected them."
You did.
I did. It wasn't a very far walk to Greywater. And she like just goes back into the kitchen, and the Kent's just walking in and like, "Yeah, I'm a great guy. Hey guys, Argo, why don't you take a seat over here? I can show you one of the entertainment display systems. Why don't you grab something to eat on the table? How you doing, kid? Oh, Kit, how you doing, sweetheart?" As he's like walking in, and Kit, Connor, Kent's a scumbag.
I mean, Clark.
Clark's a scumbag.
That's
Thank you.
perfect.
Yeah, Clark is. He's been in and out of Joan's life. He's definitely the father. He's probably your dad, maybe. Or sorry, not your dad. He's probably Kent's dad. It's debatable.
Right.
But he has been the only one to stick around with Joan. She's kicked him out multiple times, and he's always managed to get back in the house. And it's never been abusive. He's never done anything mean or cruel or said anything like awful to her. It's just never there. And he's a bit of a womanizer too. Well, he tries to be. He just is never successful.
He likes to think himself.
Yeah, he tried. No, he doesn't even think he is. He just keeps swinging.
Yeah.
Like
It's every shot you don't take.
Yeah, every shot. Yeah, exactly. Just keep going up to the batter's box. Like, I'm gonna get it this time.
It kind of just has like a similar glare to Clark here.
Yeah, Clark just beams at you.
It's not as spiteful as it is when he usually looks at a robot, but it's still pretty spiteful.
Oh, I love it. We have a sidebar going here between Ray and Cinda, which I love. Hey, and it's been commented to me that people can read that, by the way, when they're watching.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so on the sidebar, they do, when they're watching, they read the comments that you guys are when you're talking role playing in the side over here. And it's I've gotten a couple of private messages where a couple other people are now doing that in their own games.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I thought that was like, yeah, I thought that was neat, and I'm like, oh crap. And I thought it was funny because I got I'm not throwing you under the bus on this one. R was like, hey, you ignored me yesterday. I'm like, I did. My bad, because he did message on there and I didn't write back in the thing. And it's like, I need to use this. And it was literally the next day I had multiple people tell me like, oh yeah, we love that on the sidebar. I was like, and I felt even worse. So again, Ara, thank you for telling me like, hey, come back around.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate it a lot. Makes me a better game master. All right, so with Clark is just, again, he doesn't seem to know that he's not liked. And he's like, oh yeah, it's like Iliad, yeah, hydraulic knife, that's great. You know, they got this other one, busted up one down here on the lower deck. He just keeps loading boxes all the time.
Yes, I know.
He's just a box bot.
Iliad says, like, coldly as he stands up and suddenly follows Joan into the kitchen.
Red, the moment Iliad crosses that threshold and Joan's in there, you get the distinct impression of a animal trapped in a corner coming off of Joan. She's not panicking, but there's real fear there. She is afraid of Iliad. But she's not gonna run.
Okay.
She turns and she looks at Iliad, and you can see that she's masking it. And she just smiles weakly. It's fake. And because it never reaches her eyes. She's like, and so back in the other room. Go ahead.
Red's gonna try to pull her into the kitchen at some point and just say to her, what is up between you and Iliad? You obviously are super uncomfortable around him.
Yeah, Iliad's crossing into the kitchen.
Yeah, he's confronting her right now.
Yeah.
Well, fuck, now you've harshed on my plan.
No, you could be doing it right now. She's looking over your shoulder and you feel that impression. Mm-hmm. So we could still keep it going. And then she's like, her eyes drift over your shoulder towards Iliad, and she just, he's infected.
With what?
And Iliad, you heard her say that. She said it loud enough for you to hear.
Iliad pauses for a moment, and like his memory core just kind of like he almost seems to spark a little at this, just kind of like fighting this weird sensation coming from the back of his memory, just fighting it down. And then he will like resize himself. He's doing his best to not seem so intimidating, despite probably pumping the ceiling.
That moment of maliciousness from her, that like he's infected. A memory pops up in the back of your mind. It starts to reform. She's a lot younger. She's healthy. She doesn't have cancer or whatever disease is eating her DNA. And it's a young woman in her early 20s with a huge synthetic mind opened up with all of its cabling, all of the nanotubing, and then just in this solid mass of like a crystalline structure. And she has a huge cyberized system that she's using to carve information into it with a very precise laser, and she's going into tessellation after tessellation after tessellation. And you can hear her say, it's self-replicating and it's everywhere. I don't think we can stop it. She's infected. And the memory's gone.
At this, to add to the concern that while he's experiencing that memory, he has to grab his head and nearly topples over just from feeling it.
Joan lifts her chin. Look at him. He doesn't even remember who he is. How far has it eaten away at your AI core? How much damage has been done?
I can't remember anything prior to 20 years ago. I don't even remember Bittertoe.
Of course not. I'm surprised you're still functioning, not screaming like one of those monsters inside the valley. Why are you...
I read is like interrupting. What the fuck are you talking about? Infected with what? What is going on?
The Lissa virus.
Anybody?
Would Red know what the Lissa virus is, coming from her background?
You know what the Mecha virus is? That the Lissa virus is new to you.
Yeah, I knew what the Mecha virus is, and I figured she knew that. But
so, does Red have any classical education?
No,
Okay.
no, nothing classical at all.
All right. So even the word doesn't mean anything to you.
Yep. So that's her line. She's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Oh my god, Argo's marking down all his fees inside the room. Like, oh, I'm going to charge for that.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
He's making up a
Argo's
bill.
an asshole when it comes to money. It's literally part of his thing. He's not a kleptomaniac yet, but he needs money for his
To get started.
plans.
Yeah. Oh god. So as this conversation is like going on in the kitchen over here, we go back into the living room where, Clark is just kind of trying to be social. He just comes off as sleazy. No matter what he does, he just has that grease on him that just kind of like makes everyone else around him feel weird. So for like who we have Kit, we have Connor, we've got Argo, and that's it. And Whiskey, right? That's up there. Yeah, that's Whiskey. Is Whiskey like checking out some of the food at the table?
I mean, Whiskey's just hanging out in the back, being a good little
robot.
Camera turret.
Taking it all in.
Just taking it all in, seeing if he needs to.
So he's like hanging out on the table.
Violence.
He's like, so yeah, Argo, so this is my happy family. This is my boy. Like, take a look at him. And Kent's huge. This is the first time you're seeing it, and he's a monster of a human being. And you get a tickle of a thing in the back of your mind. He looks nothing like Kent. Clark and Ken are totally different looking people. He looks like the supreme version.
It's the glasses.
It's not just it's the glasses. It's the glasses.
It's the curl.
It's the curl. Yeah, it's like that's Superman. When you look at him, it's like if he had created an idolized version of himself and printed it in a tank. That's him.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh. Argo just slyly whispers over to what is it, Clark or is it Kent? What is his name? Clark. Okay. Slyly whispers over to Clark, trying to be a little bit not conspicuous. You made him, didn't you?
He's my magnum opus.
I spy some flaws.
Well, that's what makes it look like it's naturally done.
And yet you call it your magnum opus. What a shame.
Perfection's in the details you miss, not the details you plan. And as he looks at his son, it is... Again, he's still drunk. He's saying shit he should not be saying.
Oh, Argo knows.
Yeah. And
this is why Whiskey's right next to him now.
And it's like he thinks like he's whispering. Oh god, he's recording it.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
I made an illegal clone out of myself, and I made the perfect boy. So Argo, you realize that his son's a bioreplicant.
Oh.
He's not a direct clone, he's an engineered one. From elements of Joan and himself and other people.
He is a very naughty boy.
Yeah, very, very naughty. So transhumans are ones where they kind of like alter the DNA and they make a better version of your own descendants. They're still born. They're just the best of you. A bioreplicant, though, is the combinations of several different genotypes forged together to make a perfect being. It's not always good, though. You end up with personality extremes, disabilities and oddities of character that, and usually they're manufactured for a particular task. This one here, you're looking again, he's tall. He's broad-shouldered. He looks like the picture of like an Umbra person. Perfect jawline, good stamina ability, expansive chest, and good eyes and teeth, good proportions. And there's who else here? Who's native? Connor. Kit. Actually, we're gonna go with Kit because Kit, you like hydraulic knight stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
She was always been into it.
Yeah.
Now that you just overheard this drunken conversation, this is the first time in your life that you realize that your cousin looks like the first hydraulic knight, Arthur.
It's my cousin.
Oh yeah, Kit's a friend. Yeah. It's the first
Kit's
time you notice that Kit looks like Arthur.
Kent.
You got Kit. Kit looks like Arthur.
There's
I'm
too many
fucking the names
Ks.
up.
There's too many.
I had too much coffee and I'm like I'm just like, yeah! I'm gonna be up till like midnight tonight. I'm gonna be tired of it.
I'm so happy I made my characters' names with something different than everyone else.
Yeah, Argo. Thank God. I
Argo
never mess up Argo.
and Unit was Continue Foxtrot.
Yeah, I'll never mess those names up. So Kit, this is the first time you realize he looks like the old poster boards of Arthur. You could go into his book that he has of all of his cards, pull it out. He looks like Arthur.
I think she would do that actually.
Yeah.
She's sitting here listening and she's like, she goes wide-eyed, and I'm sure like Connor could pick up on it, but she goes wide-eyed and she does like, cause Kent brought out his card deck, didn't he?
Yeah, he has the whole booklet there and it's like sitting on the kitchen table.
Yeah,
now Iliad's gone off and he's like listening to his dad.
Yeah, she kind of like rummages through it and then pulls out the card. She's like holding it up like side by side to him.
It's got his hair, got his eyes, got his jawline. It looks like Arthur.
Hey Iliad, can you come back in here?
Yeah, so you hear, in the kitchen you hear Iliad, you get called for as like Jones staring daggers at you.
Iliad holds the glare, actually, and he ignores Kit. And because now his hand's extended, his normal claw hand is extended to point a finger at her.
How does a robot glare?
His lenses flare up. And
by the way, Joan keeps Red between them. Like she doesn't go in front of Red to get close to Iliad.
Okay.
Are you?
Well, Red is looking at Iliad a little unhappily and with her hands on her hips and looking suspiciously at him, like, "What's a Lyra virus?"
Were you
Iliad?
a hydraulic knight? I have a memory of you in my core.
I asked you a question, Iliad. What's a Lyra virus? She's getting louder.
Yeah, she like puts her hand on your shoulder and she's like, "This is a virus. It means madness."
Oh, Lyssa virus. Madness. Yeah, what's up with that?
Plainly, he doesn't have it anymore. He found some way to cure himself. And to answer your question, Sir Iliad. She takes a breath. And she sees she's collecting herself. I am the Knight Joan. I was not knighted in the traditional way. I was a researcher, programmer, caretaker of Athena.
Does she have a title that he knows?
She would have been the caretaker.
Oh.
But that's the only memory you have of her, is that little bit. She's not one of the field knights. She's like one of the ones that worked in the services. They're usually members of, like, the housecarls, the militia, the squires. But she's a titled knight. Not for valor, not for honor, not for in the battlefield, like where her colors earned. They were earned in the grueling education in the field of expansion and knowledge, and sacrificing everything to gain more of that knowledge and expand upon it and build the hydraulic knights. So she would have been in charge of the AI cores of many of the synthetic knights.
Kid is getting angry because she's been ignored all night.
Yep.
I do not remember getting the virus, this curse. I don't even remember how it would have been cured. From what I understood, it was permanent.
She looks at you. Obviously not, if they let you through. You cleared it somehow.
Rum looks back at Joan and said, "You were asking if he was dangerous before. Is he dangerous?" And she's stepping back from Iliad, and you notice that she has lifted her right hand with palm up, and it's starting to glow, which you've never seen.
She puts a hand on you. No. I was surprised, and I was angry and alarmed. There's a lot.
Rum's still looking at him very suspiciously, and
he is not dangerous. She starts to slide in front of you, like where your palm is.
Okay.
They let him through the gate. He passed the test. He is not a danger.
I may not be well educated, but even I've heard of a Trojan horse.
If I had the Lyssa virus still, I wouldn't have saved you back with those pitjackers.
If I may interject, Tim, do you mind tabbing over to the chat tab on that? On your window?
The chat tab on my window?
Yeah, in Roll20. You're on the jukebox tab.
Am I? Mm-hmm. Oh, no, I'm on the chat tab.
Dream showed you otherwise. Okay. My bad. Carry on.
Okay. Yeah, I try to keep it on the chat tab. That's weird. All right. So yeah, with that back and forth, we've got. She's like, no, he's safe. We have a lot to talk about. But first, we need to get dinner out to my retarded husband and my son. Please. And she looks at Iliad, and she just like forces a platter with, cooked food into his hands. Take this out to the table, Sir Iliad.
Almost drops it with his crab pincer, but manages to quickly fix himself. Very well. There is much going on here.
That's pretty cool. What I'm gonna have to put this. I'm seeing the binary, and I'm gonna put that in the binary translator.
I'm trying to translate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you just want the translation?
Iliad did track what that says, so he's just like,
Let them figure it out.
I mean,
yeah,
if they can't figure it out in like 30 minutes, I'm happy to give a translation.
Oh, yeah, please.
Okay.
So, she turns to red. She's like, no, this is, we'll, thank you. You have no reason to put yourself in harm's way from me. We have only met a matter a handful of hours ago, and you were already showed yourself to be capable and trustworthy, and I thank you for this.
Well,
maybe
us ladies got to stick together.
Maybe if the knights were still around, you could have found a home.
I don't know. They seem a little crazy.
They stood against the madness of the high desert. A single soldier against the darkness.
Yeah, when they told me I could, find a new home here, they really weren't clear on the the details of what it means to go to someplace called the high desert. I was unpleasantly surprised by a lot of things here, but this place seems nice.
High rise is nice. That's why I came back here. I'm gonna raise my son. And stay with my husband. As they walk, she takes you by the hand and walks you out into the foyer if you follow her.
I whisper to Joan as I follow her. You need me to do something to him? I could try fixing him.
She just kind of groans. Yeah, with 9 millimeters of lead.
No. Like, she taps her forehead. In the head.
Again, she raises a thin brow at you. And like, we'll talk about that again. We'll revisit that topic.
I'm still learning, though, so might mess him up.
It's got her curious, though. She's like, wait a minute. Because again, that little red glow already said, like, I'm a ghost mutant. But
right.
She didn't remark on that.
Which was very nice, but Red at the time wasn't even thinking about outing herself. She was like seriously thinking that Iliad was threatening Joan, and she already had like a quick bonding with Joan. So even though Iliad has fought by her side and even helped her, she was like ready to bring out her biggest gun to face down what probably would have been an impossible fight.
And it's interesting too. It's like a sidebar. If a mutant has that empathic ability, that person gets so wrapped into the emotions of another person, if they're not like highly disciplined to separate themselves from it, that you really do almost form like a bond with somebody faster than you normally would, because you know so much about the intimate workings of their mind almost instantly.
Unlike Iliad or Cinder for that matter.
Yeah, because you can't. Yeah. You have to know them as a person, as an individual over time. You have to do it
she knows Cinder about as well as a person could know without empathy.
Yeah. So when it goes back in and everyone's, and she's getting meals spread around, Joan does take a moment to like pay attention to Kit. Because she doesn't want to pay attention to her husband.
Yeah, you can see that Kit is very visibly pissed off. Like, there is obviously a pot that's been boiling for a while. Like, the whole night has been not kind to her. And
you've got that card in your hand.
And she does have the card in her hand. And
Joan sees it.
Yeah, she is glaring, not only, at Iliad, but, just at everybody. Because it's been a rough night for poor little Kit.
So Joan comes and folds her hands over yours and takes the card. And in her hands, she's like, it was a matter of time till somebody noticed.
Yeah? Have you told him?
What would we gain from that? What would he gain from that?
I think he has a right to know a little.
In time. In time, he will know. But not right now.
You see Kit's jaw tighten. And she just nods, trying to let the steam from the pot boiling dissipate.
She gives you a weak smile. She looks at you, and she's like, just like the old stories. I guess you play the part of Pan. And she just brushes like some of your hair back behind your ear. And this is a story you don't know. Like, what is she referring to? But she just shakes her head, smiles, and she's like, then she takes the card and she puts it back in the sleeve and closes the book. And then she looks at Iliad, and again, there's still coldness there, but it's allowing itself some room to breathe. You can see that she's starting to relax around the shoulders a little bit. Then she sees Argo, and the conversation going back and forth between Argo and her husband, talking about biogenetics, and she's sucked into this conversation like immediately. So with Argo, you suddenly have. Go ahead.
On Whiskey Tinker Vatra, he has a piece of tech on him
Okay.
called a DNA scanner.
Oh shit.
Oh,
And he's kind of just been there for a good. We've been there for a good long while, so it's
Taking samples.
probably easily been that 5 continuous rounds of locking on, and he's easily within 20 meters.
Oh god.
Is this
no.
like quiet?
Yeah, it's very
loud?
quiet. No, it's very quiet. It's just a digital
Okay.
process that you're reading.
Okay.
So yeah. Okay, cool. This is great. We get to reveal that.
oh, wait, what?
What's wrong with her? With Joan?
Oh,
So, Whiskey Tango, you can see just off your DNA reader the reason why this woman has like cancer as like it. Again, the other characters have heard cancer. She doesn't have cancer. She has massive DNA degradation. She is literally falling apart.
Ooh.
There's only a couple things that can do that. There's a few viruses that are retrograde viruses that can break down your DNA, but that would have killed her by now. The other one is huge, prolonged radiation exposure.
Oh.
Like from a power core. A strong one. That was unshielded.
Interesting.
Yeah, Rum Red's asking Kit, you ready to kill someone?
I saw.
Okay.
I'm working on it.
I get to go back.
I figured you guys would have your own little thing going on.
So with Whiskey Tango able to tell, like, identify, like, okay, this woman is like should be dead, but there's a lot of repairs that have been done to her DNA. You can see, false protein caps that have been put on the ends of them. Like someone has been desperately trying to rebuild her genome over years.
Dang.
At this point, she's barely who she was in the past. She's been almost completely rebuilt.
Whoa.
There's a lot of artificial DNA in there. Vat grown. You've seen these vats.
Well then. Well, I also found out something interesting. Whiskey Tango technically cannot talk, which is why he's been doing binary.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah, just beeping
He
out.
has no communication unit.
Again, he can just beep. We got other robots here who know what he's
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, Iliad can translate. That's why he tracked what he said there. It's like, what the fuck is he talking about? And then just kind of moved on.
Oh god, you can have a conversation with Brighthammer because he speaks in binary bursts too.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate right now. He's not making too much sense.
Yeah, it's all corrupted.
And Argo just automatically knows it by heart now. Because, like,
It's like reading the
memory
Matrix.
communication.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really-
just like, oh, binary? Yeah, I can do that in my sleep.
Yeah.
What do you mean that's supposed to be, like, really fucking difficult?
if
Even
everyone's
as a
playing,
kid, I knew it.
it's like we were playing ACS2 graphics games, and it's like, yeah, it's a tree, that's a goblin. People are like, it's just dots. You're playing the Matrix. I'm like, no,
It's a vibrant world.
yeah, it's a vibrant world with a lot of detail and depth.
It's beautiful. Look at it. It's like just the @ sign.
Yep.
That's me. That's my hero.
I mean, yeah, it's Dwarf Fortress. I love it. It's
Oh,
playing
Dwarf
ACS2.
Fortress, such a good game.
It's amazing.
We'll get too
Umbra,
sidetracked.
yeah, go
so
ahead.
fun.
Iliad's gonna actually try to sit as close to Argo as possible, actually.
Uh,
And he doesn't know how to make awkward small talk, so he's very blunt and to the point. And he just kind of sits down and turns to Argo. Did you see that construction bot as you approached?
Argo quickly searches up Clark. With a look of a finger, just putting it to its fat face, because, well, that's how you quiet a drunk. Yes, a little bit. I didn't get to see him too much. I was a bit preoccupied as he tilts his head over. But yes, what about it?
Iliad pauses a moment to look at Clark, a little judgmental flicker in his eyes, and then looks back to Argo. Well, I know him.
Oh,
Him
go
and I
on.
served together closely back during the nights.
Oh, interesting.
He's corrupted somehow, and his brain's not working. His memory core's not working. I will need you to fix it.
I can do that. Technically for a price, but as I know you, it would be significantly lowered.
I will pay,
Gladly.
of course. But do you have the facilities to help him? Does this drunk one host a suitable lab?
Igo just smugly looks over at the silly little drunk is like, I would damn well hope so, or at least I might have to add some more fees.
The other issue is obtaining him. A local thinks he is her property. Just
that is a simple bit of legal jargon I can easily whip up if needed.
if you could do that, I would be in your debt.
That is a dangerous word, my fellow. But I shall keep it well.
Expensive word.
Expensive and dangerous indeed when it comes to Argo.
Okay. So with Joan, like, she's instantly likes Argo because Argo can speak at an intellectual level that she does, and she's again she deals with AI cores, and Argo is on the mechanical side of that world, but she's on the theoretical physics side of that, and a lot of like
Nice.
and so all of a sudden in Argo she has all of the conversation that she doesn't really get with her husband because her husband's on the biological side of this, and the three of you almost make a perfect researcher capable of fixing these things.
Oh, 2 more added brains to add to my collection to make the super brain. Lovely.
So does Whiskey Tango communicate to Argo like, hey, this one's like fucked up?
Yes.
Okay. So,
There were some worried beeps.
okay. So Argo,
And
then you
Argo
know
just
that she's
simply
been
looks over at her and just wide-eyed as he just listening to the binaries, like jaw almost drops at just the amount.
So that also informs you that it's Clark that did all this to her. Clark's keeping her alive. He's rebuilding her a little bit at a time.
Well, I'll be. No wonder you're staying around. You're keeping her alive.
Like Joan's hand like grips a little bit on her husband's shoulder, and he just kind of like drunkenly looks. He's like, "What?" He like looks at her like, "Oh, wow."
So you
you're
might want to be a bit more conscious for
And,
this.
like he looks around a little bit like in the room, and Joan just shakes her head. These are highly intelligent people. You brought our son brought an hydraulic knight. And she turns and looks at Whiskey Tango, a droid of unknown capabilities. She leans down, a ghost mutant, so that nobody else can hear it. And amongst some other very talented individuals, our own kin amongst them. And she looks over at Connor and she winks at Kit. It was only a matter of time till they started to figure things out, especially if you employ him. And so he comes clean with you. He's like, okay, well, okay, I'm supposed to be in charge of making all of the different, like the horticultural units and keeping the tanks up and making better foods, but I dabble a lot in doing biosynthetics and making replacement limbs. People get accidents, and we clone limbs and we make them. We process new hearts, brain stems, whatever's needed. My wife, has sick, so I've had to create more and more bodily components to, keep her going. And she just kind of nods at Argo. It's like, it's kind of the way of it. And this is the first Kent's heard of this. He's like sitting there like, wait a minute, what? I thought you had cancer. And so Connor, you're sitting there like watching your cousin suddenly find out that his mom is being kept alive by his dad, like with experimentation.
The hell? Connor kind of perks up. I thought she had cancer too. What the fuck?
And it's like they come clean with everybody in the room. They're like, okay, this was going to happen eventually. We needed to talk about this. And it becomes a bit of an opening up of what's going on. Now, for those of you who are from here and are familiar with Domino and Unity, it really sounds like what he's doing is a lot like what Unity's doing. And the only way he's turning her into a nanoborg, but a biological one.
Ooh.
Because he's basically been reconstituting her constantly. At this point, she's not even the same. It's not even the same body anymore. It's been completely reconstituted. It's the same mind in there, but you know, it's like a robot getting a new body, or a synthetic being. Like if Aura would suddenly, Mira were to jump into another synthetic body. It's similar to what he's been, similar to that. So it's a little alarming. And suddenly, oh God, I wish Cinder was here. Because if he was, they'd be like, oh, that's who's buying it.
Mm-hmm.
But it does. It sounds like this is Unity tech. This is something they pioneered. And but they don't come out and admit that. Just those of you who are kind of like in the knowledge of like Unity's nanoboards would realize that that's kind of like what has been done to her. A hydraulic knight, using the technology of the enemy to live.
Is it revealed that she is a hydraulic knight to Connor?
No.
Okay. But he realizes like that this could be, because he was made aware of like some Unity tech being brought in, so he could put like two and two together.
He can put two and two together. Yeah, like oh, cool. My uncle's been in contact with Unity for decades.
Yeah, this Connor will like kind of slam his hands on the table and stand up quickly, the chair almost flying back as he gets up. You're working with Unity?
It's not like you think.
You're bringing that cancer in here?
No, Connor, let me explain. I'm not taking Unity technology. I'm corresponding with researchers that went over to Unity.
That just seems like a lot of words to say that, yeah, you are working with Unity.
It's kind of like you can have a radio communication with somebody in Greywater or 86 or, you know, in Copper Dust, but we're not giving any secrets away, Connor. And even Kent is up in arms. Like, Dad, what are you talking about? What do you mean? It's the same damn thing. And he's also getting upset. And he's like, no, son, you don't understand. It's not like that. Your mother is sick, and I didn't have the expertise to understand the biological breakdown she was going through. I needed help, and I was in the watering hole, and this was like 15 years ago. You need to understand. There was a man there who said he understood the math of the problem I was working with, and we started a correspondence, and then he went away. Sometime later, I got a message that came through the Celtics, all through official channels, son, all through official channels. Everybody knows about it, all the way from the top to the bottom. And it was just correspondence. Just he figured out a protein link that it was missing, and I didn't question how he figured it out because it worked.
But to work with Unity, to work with that bastard, after everything he's done, the lives he took, my family he took, and you're working with him?
No.
At this part, Iliad's also perking up and like kind of glaring at Clark.
Joan's standing there. She's being quiet. She's standing behind her husband, rock solid still. Because, she would have had to have acquiesced to this. She would have had to known what was happening. Or at least understood that outside help was being brought in. Her husband's a genius, but he's not that much of a genius. There's limitations. And you need computational power to do what he did. And High-Rise simply doesn't have that kind of computational power. And she would know that because she makes the machines that make that computation. That's what poisoned her. There's only one place that has that kind of computation. It's either 86 or it's Unity.
Iliad stands and looks to Joan. You knew.
How couldn't I? She like lifts her chin. She lifts her chin like looking at you. And you can see that she's put her defenses up.
You condemn me. And yet you're working with the scourge of High-Rise. Connor speaks up. Oh, well, at least for once I can agree with the robot.
Connor.
Don't Connor me.
Kit immediately quiets down because she knows that she doesn't want to start to open that Pandora's box of a conversation.
Like, hey guys, boom. Let's blow this freaking off the top. Let's start a gunfight in here.
She's seeing everything else going to shit, and she's just like, you know what? Maybe not the best time.
Joan doesn't even, she doesn't seem to want to reply to Iliad.
Who else knows?
F380. So this triggers like an offended, like knee-jerk reaction that's really not in Iliad's like character. But like his crab pincer just like snatches the back of Clark's neck and like starts squeezing, like not enough to like hurt him, but it's clear that like he's showing restraint right now. What? He stiffens underneath your grasp, and Joan like, get your hands off my husband. And he's just like, no, sweetie, honey, no, it's fine. He deserves to know. He deserves to know. F380 is who I go through for my point of contact. She authorizes the communications. I told you.
It releases his neck.
It's through official. He like drops down into the couch. It's through official channels. We're not doing anything illegal.
All of High-Rise is working with Unity.
There's just silent. Like neither of them seem to want to say it out loud. But like Iliad, Connor, Kit, Red, you can see it. Like in the faces, the people who are at the top have been infected with the generosity of Unity, and the people at the bottom have been infected with its goods.
Take me to her.
He's about to stand up, and Joan puts her hand on her husband's shoulder. I'll do it.
Here I come.
And then she looks around in the room and she's like, Red? And you can hear there's a little quiver in her voice.
Redhead stood up and was heading to the door, but looks over her shoulder at Joan.
Like it's a silent ask. She's asking for you to go with her.
You see, Red kind of stiffen up a little bit, and her eyes start to the door. Her eyes dart back to Joan, and she deflates a little bit and gives a little nod back and turns back towards the room.
Were you going to get Cinder?
She glares at Iliad, and I don't know if I want to talk to you.
I am not your enemy.
Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Kit's throwing her hands up and she starts laughing nervously. There's no need for all this hostility. Come on now. Let's all just calm down.
There's some weird stuff going on here, Kit, and I don't know if I trust it. Tech stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe Argo understands it.
Oh, I do.
don't.
Yeah. Argo, like you're sitting at the where you were sitting inside that room, like where he was baking that lab, you saw both ends of this where it meets. Like Unity
Argo
Oh,
on the
was
top
just sitting
and the bottom.
giggly.
Yeah. Like basically Unity's already in control. Like you were seeing Unity tech already in machines. If they're communicating with Unity upper echelons, the only reason why Unity's not in control yet is because they just don't have anybody sitting on the council. But they more or less control the goods coming in that the people want. They're slowly subverting the population's needs by creating new needs. And they're also subverting the upper echelons of its command. And it's a slow, methodical takeover. Doesn't need a war. Doesn't need any fighting.
And that's the part that Argo loves.
Yeah.
Slow, methodical.
And Domino's doing it right. You can't attack high rise. It's impossible. You would lose way too much in the process. So you undermine it.
You instead break it down slowly by little bits. Take what you need, force the people to take what they want. And then grab it by the neck. It's all done.
Ooh. Okay. Red. When Argo says grab it by the neck, it's all done. You have a flash of a memory of a powerful psychic trying to bore their way into your mind.
Yeah. Recently or in the distant
No, you remember
past?
it. You remember it like earlier, just earlier today.
Right.
When
Very,
Hashmal,
very
when
recently.
Hashmal tried to do that, when Argo just said, you undermine and you build from the other side, and then you grab it by the neck. Who is poised to grab it by the neck?
So, Red is going to look at Argo with like kind of a horrified look, and she's again looking very antsy and kind of backing away from everybody in the room. She looks a little overwhelmed.
Yeah, this is a big shit.
And her,
for
her emotional expression seems to be like rapidly changing as she looks from person to person. She looks at Joan and she looks upset and angry again. She looks at Argo and she looks like kind of overwhelmed but like wide-eyed, and she looks at Connor and she looks angry again. Yeah, she looks at Kit and she looks relaxed a little bit, and then she so she's having like a bipolar moment.
Hey, those are fun.
So now, for everyone else, for the NPCs anyways, the importance of what Argo just said isn't known to them because they're not making those connections. They're so deep in the control sphere of what Unity's doing to them, they don't see it, that Unity is closing the fist.
Oh.
Iliad will like hold his hands up like defensively to Red, like he's clearly trying to show that he's not a threat to her. Look.
She holds up her hand, and her hand is suddenly bright with electricity, just arcing between her fingers.
Ooh, she's spooked.
I'm not your enemy, Red. But if you were to get Cinder, I would appreciate that. I think we're going to need his help.
He's going to want to know about this. This is worse than I thought. This is worse than he thought.
Then you should go get him now.
And despite her having planned to stay with Joan, she just turns and bolts away.
So that brings us over to...
Causing probably a malfunction in the door when she reaches it with her electrical
hand, yeah, just like a little shock of light running down the alleyway. So as you're moving through these alleyways, and finally I can get to freaking to our pumpkin.
Yeah.
Yay!
So I'm gonna put you in a scene.
Okay.
The horticultural area where all the bunnies like they move all their stuff back and forth, they love a plantoid being around, and they're basically trying to convince you almost to like come over here, like touch stuff, because plantoids help plants grow. It's part of the natural cycle for them, and they can understand like what is just by touching it, you know, if the pH is right, if the soil's right, if the nutrients are right. And you can articulate these things that they need a lot of sensors to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Unless he's walking down the road, because by this point, I imagine he's long since left the rabbits who were most likely drunk and passed out.
Oh yeah, definitely. They're passed out on their tables. And you've just got yourself like carrots, cabbages, daikon, like a radish or two wrapped up in your arms coming away from this area. You're down on the first deck. And Red Rum comes like moving quick by you. And Red Rum, you spot him. Again, that alien presence at the outside edges of your consciousness is there. That plantoid mind.
Mm-hmm.
So you feel him before you see him.
So
Gargo's giggling crazy. Yes.
She kind of gives, eyeball to Ronan, but at the same time, her mouth was already opening, and she's just screaming at the top of her lungs. What I just put in the chat. Yeah. Cinder, I need you. Because she knows in the past when she needed Cinder, he was there.
Yeah.
So she's like trying to get his attention wherever the hell he is.
Do they have a comm bead?
No.
Okay.
No. He only has the two comms. So he's got one that is a spare, and he gave that to Rhea for the night.
So we're gonna do our first interpolation of Red Rum's psychic ability starting to take shape. Okay. Telepathic ability, and it's a projection that echoes in a direction, and it hits all the people that have been around her for several days, well, weeks at this time. Rhea, you're one of them, and it comes in and it hits you hard. You know it's red, like the moment you feel it echo in your brain.
She just bolts up right out of dead sleep. It's just that doesn't sound good.
How does it work for other people who are telepathic?
You'd feel it again if you were around her for long enough. You'd feel that hit of somebody who's not a trained mind, but one who's waking up to telepathy. Like when a baby screams and their mutation is first coming into focus, and they're like, want this, and it's like, oh god, that's not great.
Would Bruce, being that he's already telepathic, be able to pick this up?
Oh yeah, you'd feel it.
Oh, okay.
Red is very. So Bruce probably already knew that Red was like a pretty strong empath.
Mm-hmm.
But again, not educated in how to use it as a weapon. She did it organically. She grew with it. And there was that hint that she was about to break through into another mental power. It's always been at the bitter edge, just hadn't gotten there yet. And sometimes it never wakes up, you know.
Right.
And if you it's almost one of those things. If you try to force it, sometimes it definitely won't wake up. And this right now, it woke up, and it woke up loud and hard. There was a lot of emotion behind it too, because you were piling empath on top of telepath.
Bruce, there's like a random scene where Bruce just goes wide-eyed and he goes, ugh.
Everything okay?
Yeah. I felt something. Something fierce.
That's probably the rum.
From Red.
Ah, clever.
Yeah.
I have Discord powers. I'm temporarily banning both of you. Fucking puns.
It's like a dad pun, but better.
I know. It's a good one. It's a really good one. So with that little inclusion there, it's a red rum.
It was a rum and good time.
Cinder was with somebody at the time, or did he break off? Because he wasn't with Laura anymore.
No, he would have probably been trying to get back to where the party normally is, because he wants to report to people what's happened thus far this evening, and again try to compare notes to see if anybody else has picked up on the level of threat that's being seen.
Yeah, that's right. Rhea has her radio that her and Cinder traded back and forth.
What are you talking about, Rhea? I don't feel anything at the moment.
I feel like a brick just smashed in my brain. What was that? What do you mean you don't feel that?
I don't feel some things, okay? If you got something like a brick to the brain, it sounds psychic shit.
All right, well, where the hell are you? I think it has something to do with those things that we were dealing with earlier.
I'm heading back to our quarters. Why do you ask?
All right, I'm going to meet up with you.
Okay.
So as you're moving through the lower section where the visitors, the non-resident citizens, are quartered, there's a lot of movement all of a sudden. This isn't, and again, Cinder, you feel it right away. This isn't typical night shift movement. It's just off of, it's not like it's at midnight when they're having lunch. It's not a 15-minute break moment. It's people coming out of their homes and talking to each other, whispering, did you feel it? What was that? And you hear this name come up a few times. I have to go to my notes, make sure I got it right. It is cultists. Shoal Thune. They're whispering to each other.
Dr. Schultz, got it.
I will put it down in the chat. Shoal Thune. And they're saying it to each other. It's it's the harbinger Shoal Thune. He's spoken. He has summoned us. We must go to him.
You just see Bruce do the Arthur gif of him looking back and forth.
Pretty much from the Elder Scrolls.
Is not liking what he's seeing and hearing. He steps up the pace and is trying to keep to the shadows as much as possible and not be too obvious of his presence to the people that are suddenly active. He also unbuckles his automatics.
Just at that time, you see a couple guards, the city guard, are coming through, and they're questioning people on the periphery of the habitat, and they're armed. You haven't seen them in full battle kit in the inside. These guys are in full armor with shock mauls and pistols.
What kind of pistols?
Looks like auto pistols.
Okay.
Hard shot, not laser.
Mm-hmm.
So at least some laser weapons can be set with a down to like a low burn setting. Not really a stun. It's still gonna hurt a lot, but it won't kill you. These
What are my
are
chances of avoiding contact?
pretty high. Like, again, they're just on the outskirts, the periphery of the area, talking to people, and they don't seem to be like, they're not muscling around and beating anybody up, but they're taking statements.
Yeah, I still don't want to encounter them. So,
so you can avoid them pretty easily.
Yep, that's my plan.
And there's a large crowd of people. There's a few hundred people who are out milling about, and amongst those few hundred, there's like a dozen or so who are whispering to each other in corners around like dark alleys, in doorways, about Sholth Thun. Some of them are wearing those damn robes too.
Oh Jesus! Cinder's cursing to himself under his breath. Had to come to this fucking town, didn't I? Yeah, I had to follow Red. Yeah. She wanted to come to this place. Fucking ah!
So as they're going back and forth and discussing things with each other, you get to where you're trying to go to. Rhea and you are able to meet up.
Mm-hmm.
Ronan, you've got Red with you, who's moving. You got hit by that wave too. Wasn't as strong because again you're a plantoid.
Ronan just blinks and just starts trotting after her.
Typical Ronan.
Where's Cole?
Cole's
Cole's with Bruce.
Yeah, so what are Roos and Cole doing after getting hit by that?
Well, Cole didn't notice anything.
Yeah, they're chilling at the pub, talking about going down to the Miners Guild.
Yeah, there was a whole wave of like people who turn their heads to look in the direction where that psychic eminence came from. Some of them do nothing. They look at nothing at all. They just kind of like, they see everybody else moving their heads like, oh, what happened? Was it an earthquake? Did I not notice something?
Is Bruce able to pick up on where this is coming from? Because earlier he was feeling like overwhelming energy.
Yeah, it was rum red. Like, you know that. Like, you know that psychic presence. You've been in proximity to her for a couple weeks now.
Oh, okay.
It was panic and need.
He
Fight or
suddenly
flight.
stands. Something don't feel right. I think Red is in trouble.
So, Roos, when you look around in the room and you see that some people are reacting, and a minority of them are not. They're confused. Cole, like, you would have felt it too, but you just didn't react to it.
Cole just doesn't acknowledge or know anything. Like, as far as he's concerned, remember, Cole's been in, like, mine shafts for months without seeing the sunlight. He just thinks he's going crazy, like always.
Fair, yeah, like rabbit hole.
Enough booze and you start quieting the voices in your head.
Fair enough, yeah. No, this is just another weird thing he's never seen before. Like, I guess this is just normal. So
remember, before he left for this journey, he was also trapped underground for like 17 days where he killed and ate his foreman.
Yeah.
He doesn't really acknowledge normal things anymore.
Roos, when you're looking around and you see these people, the minority not reacting, it occurs to you very quickly, those are synthetics.
Oh.
They can live or die for all I give a damn.
And they're in all walks of life. Some are citizens, some aren't citizens. Some of them are like upper level. That you can see like some white collar workers amongst the mix, some functionaries, blue collar workers, dust and grime on their hands, enjoying a beer, enjoying some liquor
not knowing
and water.
if there's any stigma for it, just points to them while he's talking to her. He's just like, I don't know what the hell you heard, but this guy, that lady, that they're synths. Takes a swig of his rum before he pulls his mask over his face again.
His brow perks. What?
Yeah. See how everybody else looked around for something? They're not reacting normal.
So I do have this could be, I don't know like how telepathy works on.
Yeah, you gotta try to ping them basically.
Androids, obviously.
Try to hit one, see if you get a signal basically.
So it's like seeing if a light's on.
Yeah, nothing. You choose one that's not reacting, There's no mind there.
He looks at his feet and he looks to the door. I think I'm gonna go investigate.
All right.
And Bruce will exit.
I guess I'll come with you. He's gonna sheath his pickaxe, pick up the two little ankle biters with him again. Come on. And he's gonna follow after Roos.
Yeah, so how far away is, I guess, where is Remred?
Heading to the outside residential area.
Trying to figure out where
where were we when we were at Kent's place?
First floor.
Just
above,
first floor.
Just above the outside residential district. Non-citizen.
Got it.
So yeah, we're talking like a distance of less than 10 minutes, couple blocks. If she's putting a trot on it.
Yeah, his telepathy can only reach like 10 kilometers.
Yeah, well within range. Oh, that's well within range. Yeah, you're easy. Yeah, 10 kilometers.
I mean, yeah, I'm silly. I can't read.
Yeah, so that's some distance. You could cover almost all of High Rise with that.
Can he ping her? Like, can he talk to her?
Yeah, he knows her well enough.
He probably wouldn't.
There's a resistance test for Red if she tries to resist the intrusion.
Okay, yeah, I'll try that.
So Red, it's you feel something trying to press. It's familiar. It's Roos. You feel who it is again because your empathy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if she knows it's Roos. Otherwise, if it had been unclear, she would have blocked it because she would have figured it was Goat Boy.
Yeah.
Bruce, is that you?
Howdy.
I didn't know you could do this.
Yeah, a lot of people who pick up on that tend to be surprised. What's going on?
Oh, it's weird. It's bad. I think it's bad. Things are a lot more fucked up than we ever thought. Like Unity is like got its claws into this whole place, like deep. The top, the middle, the bottom.
Hold on. What are you talking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the Unity has operations here, and they've got the upper echelon, they've got the people, and they fucking have the cult. The cult is Unity. I swear.
So yeah, Bruce is hearing this, and he's with the minimal interactions that he's had, it's slowly starting to piece together, the synths and
yeah, it's clicking.
Ashmal.
Yeah.
And he kind of glances over at Cole, and he continues walking. Like there's an obvious like brisk pace to his walk. Where are you? I'm gonna come find you.
I'm trying to find Cinder. I'm running around here on the first level.
Where did Cinder go? He's just like talking to himself now.
I think he left after we dealt with that goat bastard.
God damn it.
So now that you're trying to expand your mind to locate Cinder, I mean, you never probably spent time beforehand trying to like get a feel for like what his mental imprint was. And some people, they have brain injuries, they have cyberizations, they have things that alter their brain in a way that makes it kind of hard to link into them.
Yeah.
And Cinder, for Roos's sake, probably just interpreted Cinder was like one of those people. He might have a partially cyberized brain. And a lot of those people you just can't talk to.
He does have an obvious cyber arm.
Yeah,
Remember?
okay, so perfect.
One
yeah,
of his
so
arms.
Yeah, he's
cyber.
not perfect. Yeah, so you have an obvious like thing, like yeah, he probably has some cybernetics that are fucking up his ability to be pinged.
I got nothing.
Yeah, not even a weak impression. It's like, there should be a weak impression if he's a cyborg, but it's just nothing. He's a complete blank.
Oh, shit. We're gonna have to look for him. So since a lot of people know Roos, I imagine that people standing around, he can ask around.
Easily.
Typical bounty hunter fashion, Roos just kind of invades your personal space and demands things.
Yep. Do you go to a synth or a human?
I'll try a synth actually.
Okay. So the synth turns, like, look at you. Oh, it's somebody who knows who you are. It's a day laborer. Oh, Roos. My cousin's not. He's doing fine. Like, don't break his fingers again. Like, it must have been some earlier bounty. You don't even recognize the dude.
He actually lifts his hand up and he says, "No, don't worry about that. I'm looking for a fella."
Oh.
What does Cinder look like?
I mean, he looks like a cop. He's got, a hardened face. He's got, close cropped, like blonde hair, like
Gotcha.
Military cut type. He's got cop eyes. He's got cop body language.
Yeah. He's this tall. He raises his hand and
Yeah, he's pretty tall too.
and he's got a one of those close cut. He's like motioning his hand over his scalp.
Earlier today, he was talking with this super hot chick that came through. Yeah, I saw them leave after a little while. No, I don't. I'm sorry. Sorry, Bruce. I don't know anything else. Hey, Bruce, what's going on? Why is everyone freaking out?
There's something going on. Something.
Should I go back home? Shit, you know what? No, fuck this. I'm gonna go back home. I'm gonna make sure my kids are okay.
Yeah.
That's obviously bullshit if he's a synth. If he's a synthetic.
Oh, I see what you're doing, Tim. Well, obviously being a synth and I knowing it's a synth, Bruce doesn't know this is a synth unless he.
Yeah, he's void. Yeah, he's a blank.
Wait a minute. Where are you going?
He looks at you like, back home. To my kids, Roos. I gotta. Roos, if something's gonna go down, I gotta make sure everybody's okay.
Why don't I walk you home? Make sure everything's safe.
His eyes break contact. Looks around him for a second. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, thanks, Bruce. Thanks.
Cole, we're gonna take a little bit of a detour.
It's fun.
He stands up and he sees Cole, the hulking monstrosity that Cole can be. And he's just standing there. And he freezes up for a second. Cole, you smell something that you smelled one time before in those slave pits when you get close to this guy. It's a scent you'll never forget. Because you cracked open that body. Yeah, when you cracked open that body, you ripped him limb from limb. He was covered in it. You don't know exactly what it was. Some kind of oil or resin. But it's burned into your mind.
Just lock his black freaking lenses directly into his eyes. Now why the hell do you smell like something crude?
I work in the factory, he says, slow. And he's a blue-collar worker. You can see he's got dirt and grime on his body and his coveralls.
No.
Work with a lot of petrochemicals.
No.
And you can see he's starting there's a hyperventilate, like Bruce, you can see he's starting to hyperventilate. He's moving, his body is starting to move. Starting to go up and down, in and out. But it's not natural.
Leans his face directly 2 inches away from him. No, this is different.
And then you can see two other people, Roos. You're looking over Cole's shoulder. You can see two other guys who are standing up. Both of them blanks. And they're reaching for things underneath their cloaks.
It's about to go down.
Bruce is on the defense, obviously, because, there's a lot of shit going on. And yeah, he kind of... He doesn't have gunslinger, unfortunately, but he does kind of like quickly go for the zap gun that he's got.
Oh, his hands go down for it to bring it up?
Yeah.
So as soon as he starts to raise it, the lights go dead and pandemonium breaks loose.
Shit.
Shift over. Iliad. What are you doing? You've got Argo, you've got Whiskey Tango, you've got Joan, you've got Kent, you've got Kit, you've got Connor in the room with you. They all reacted to something in the air. A movement, something that shook them all.
Elliot just kind of stares at them and just like, well, I'm not the best with organics, but that was not natural how you all flinched there just now.
No, I feel a little weird. What's happening? Where's Roos?
So, Argo, you know what just happened on a technical level. You know that was a psychic eminence that was scattered out.
Would I logically assume that could have also may have been the thing in the basement?
Yes.
Argo just simply groans out loud and is like, oh, it's the basement thing, isn't it?
Basement thing.
Oh, you are the only one who knows about it. That's right.
Oh, by the way, there's a flesh thingy monster that needs really lean meat, by the way. That is also massive, takes up a shit ton of power, takes up a shit ton of really lean food. Like,
this is so good.
Exactly.
I'm so happy.
97 to 3% lean to fat. It's like that's the only thing we'll eat, and then it seems to be the main focus of part of the biolab and a lot of other labs apparently.
This is the second time.
There isn't much on it.
This is the second time you've taken a spanner and thrown it into like the gearworks in at the perfect moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm great at this.
Joan looks at her husband. Her husband shrinks into the couch like he's trying to make himself smaller and smaller. And she's
that
like,
file was really fucking easy to find, by the way. You do not have great security or anything on your PCs. That's something I'm also going to have to fix for you. And that's another charge.
Are the lights out already, or are we like a little bit further back?
You're a little bit further back in time than what was going on over there.
Okay.
So you have a couple minutes before that happens, and all of a sudden he's like getting smaller in the couch, and she's looking. What did you do? Joan says to him, "Well, I had to."
Iliad grabs him by the throat with his human-like hand.
Joan
this guy's not getting a lot of breaks.
Yeah, Joan just steps back, and she like she's looking at an alien.
Iliad will lift the guy like up in the air, just like clutching that throat. What is in the basement?
There's a hiss at the door as a woman is standing there with a serpentine lower body, and she's carrying a long poled object in her hands, and at the end of it's wrapped with a canvas. And she sees you with him and his like lifted up. Joan turns. She like, Frielli. No. And her eyes lock with yours, Iliad. and you see the hammer as it unfurls, and she says Lux, and it explodes to life, and the lights go out dead.
Tune in next week.
Yep.
Oh, man. No, you bastard.
Yeah. I knew that was gonna happen.
You could have just said nothing and you could maybe have played it off like a few more minutes.
I know.
That's one of the best parts to stop, honestly.
Yeah, right.
I have 2 more hours in me.
Everybody grab a
This is
coffee. We'll be right back.
day
in 5
off.
minutes.
Like, grab a coffee. We're not finishing it up. Yeah, so we've got Pandemonium in one area. So the way I'm going to do this is going to like a split battle where we're still going to go through the sides and everything like that, and it's like the stuff's going to go down. I got to build 2 maps for this one as well, because I got to build the little tiny house map, and I got to build like the bar where everything's going to hell. And the tokens, like everyone will go on their side, and then the enemies will go on their side, and it'll be fun. Yeah,
Fun.
Efrielti has, she has Lighthammer. She has his weapon.
No!
That thing looks pretty heavy, though.
Now they have
it's
to draw
huge.
more fan art.
Yeah.
I mean, is that the worst?
No, I actually really like drawing Boxbot.
Yeah, it's just there's light, and as she said it, everything was plunged in darkness.
Which is funny because Kit can see in the dark.
Nice. Well, you can too, because you got the glowing light that's trying to. Again, it's all those themes of casting back the shadow, standing before darkness, and you're seeing the people of High Rise have allowed the shadow to consume them. And Lighthammer was trying to warn you, but he could only say it in one way. Light, 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 Lux, 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 Lux.
Yeah.
I'll have to make you I'll have to make you cover art for your streams now.
All right, so guys, awesome roleplay session. We've had a couple in a row before we've gotten to combat, and this was huge. Ara, thank you for just perfectly going and throwing bombs at like the prime. I'm like, I couldn't have written that better.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And like just remembering those moments, like all the meat and stuff like that was being transferred down, and then having that moment where you're like, thank you, that was perfect.
Oh yeah, no problem. Just like, oh, this would be a great time to announce that.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a couple characters who lose a lot of screen time each time we go back in this. So again, with Beans and with Pat, sorry I couldn't get to your guys' characters and bring them into the field, but now they're gonna be there because shit's gonna be going down in their areas too. Because you have a couple cultists in the area you're at in the residential district who are suddenly like, oh, it's game on. And so there's gonna be 3 battles going on at the same time in different locations.
Yeah, I like to think that Cole and Bruce would get along very nicely.
So for those who watch, thank you for coming along to watch the Mutant Epoch. You can get the Mutant Epoch over at themutantepoch.com. Please join us at the Discord. Link is in the description. And we love having people come in and join us. We've had a couple new people come in, started adding content already, talking about things that they're building. We have a couple players who are coming up with their own locations. We're getting closer and closer to getting that third-party license out where people can start making their own things and getting the Outland Arts logo on it so they can actually like expand upon the world and make it more of their own. We're making a short animation to go for the cover of the episodes. Thank you for Apocalypse Bliss for suggesting that. It got me back into what I originally wanted to do with Blender, which was animations. So also anybody who's listening, if you like doing voice work, you got ideas, come to Discord, pitch them. There's those of us here who like making things, and we love collaboration. So again, thank you everybody, and we'll see you next week, 7 o'clock Eastern, for the Mutiny Epoch, the High Desert. Everybody have a good night.
Nord.
Night, y'all. Gonna have an execution squad.
I thank God. I hit end and it gives you a little detail that's like, are you sure? And you said little execution squad. I'm like, oh, I'm glad I caught that.